There we go. I'm going to spotlight Lindsay, so that should make you nice and big.
Thank you.
And then I'm going to leave you to run. Nice scarf, by the way.
Awesome. See, everybody's got a story. This scarf is so fun. I picked it up from Liana Chauli, who came to do a live workshop at Jonathan's last month. And I must say, it does bring out the blues in me. I'm really enjoying it. So it's fun to tell these stories, and that's what we're getting into right now with blogging. I've done this workshop before. I know that a few of you have taken something from me that's kind of similar. I keep updating it. So if you've taken this before, I'm going to challenge you to take some action on it that you didn't take last time, and maybe stay tuned to see what you can pick up to help you with that action. So welcome everybody, and we're going to talk about blogging. I'm going to jump right into the content, but if you have any questions, pop them in the chat box. Jonathan can wrangle them up. I'm fine with interruptions, Jonathan, or at the end, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you and show you what is up. Okay, so roll up your sleeves and let's blog. So just before we move on, I wanted to introduce myself a little more formally. My name is Lindsay. I help create beautiful websites and powerful content for businesses. It's my really solid philosophy that a beautiful website without the content strategy is going to get a lot of people coming to it who then turn around and leave. So our goal with content strategy is to get people interested in staying on your website, signing up for what you're offering, and really buying into your brand. So I'm the director of website strategy at We Make Stuff Happen. I've been working with Jonathan since 2011. And I also work independently at leapontotheweb.com. So with my clients, I've done some blogging coaching and content development, and again, website strategy. So that's me in a nutshell. I have some interesting things about my background. I don't know if anyone knows which one of these is not true. Did I previously work as a business reporter? Was I a partner in a construction company for 5 years? Did I start my web design company right after university? Do I manage a blog with over 25,000 Facebook followers? Any guesses? I guess I'm not going to hear you, so I'll keep going.
Yeah, I've muted them all.
So the web design company is not true. So my background basically spans from journalism and public relations, business development, and then one-on-one coaching with our clients, with Jonathan, and also with some individual, very specialized blog clients. So that's it. So our agenda for today, we'll talk about blogging as a strategy and get into what to blog about. I'm going to explain briefly how blogging works with SEO, trying not to inundate you, but just give you some action items. Then we'll talk about writing your blog post and blogging strategically. All right, so first of all, blogging as a strategy. So when we get clients, they usually struggle with pretty similar things in their online marketing or in their real world marketing too. So these are typical struggles. Getting traffic to your site, getting people's attention in the crowded marketplace, selling more products or services, developing a brand that stands out. I know a lot of people feel they don't have enough time for all the marketing and social media they have to do, and blogging is really a strategy that you can use to leverage those hours that you put in. And we always want our clients putting out email marketing, email newsletters, and blogging again ties into getting that out to your clients every month. So the quote is, cultivate visibility because attention is currency. So everything that we teach is around being more visible and taking more of the attention out there, getting more attention. So your blog, ideally, is one thing that really holds attention on your website, especially because it's crowded online. So what does blogging do for you? It cultivates relationships with other people. They see that you have a lot to talk about, and because they understand more about you, you have a lot more to build on. It creates a resource for your potential customers to use. So we've done things for clients like FAQ pages and info downloads. Blogging can tie right into that. You're creating content and there's lots of different ways to package it. It develops a high level of trust with your ideal customer. It creates a business asset like I was talking about. You create content, which is intellectual property, very useful in today's info market, and you can leverage it and reuse that. So it's very important. Blogging makes you more findable. It improves your SEO. It gets social media pointing at you. And it converts your website traffic and your connections into buyers. So if you went to a website and if you saw somebody on Facebook that you really liked and you clicked through onto their website, have you ever found that there's a disconnect between what you find on the website and that really confident person that you see and that says really interesting things on Facebook or Instagram? So when you're blogging and you're taking care of that end on your website, you're making a connection between the energy that they see when they meet you at a networking event or they meet you online. And then when they come to the anchor of your entire platform, which is your website, they have something they can get from you there. So if you're not blogging, you're kind of losing one of your major strategies. Darren Rowse figured it out first in 2007. He was one of the #1 people, the first people to make money blogging. And he talks about how it builds that like, know, and trust factor that we know is part of sales and it's part of online marketing. He says it's the regular contact, the personal aspect of blogging that really helps people to like you. Then over time, they come to trust you. Fair enough. So a lot of us, we think about blogging, we think about staring at a white screen, not knowing what to write. It can feel high pressure. And of course, there's alternatives to just writing. It really is about getting really crystal clear on what you want to talk about. Then you can make videos, slideshows, audios, podcasts, or even music. You can put up customer case studies or portfolio pieces on a regular basis, images, or just resources. You can interview other people and make lists or product reviews. It doesn't matter the format. The most important thing is that you decide what kind of regular content you're going to create and make sure that it has searchable text for Google, for the search engines, and then you host it on your website. Those are the keys. So it's very flexible. It's really all about telling your story. And it's also about getting text on there so the search engines can send people to your website. So blog often. The ideal blogging frequency seems to be about once a week at least. But even if you're blogging on a monthly basis, it is so much better than never. And you can use that really, really well if you learn all the strategies around reusing it. All right, so the next question, if I have all of you with me, is what to blog about. Here's a great quote from Seth Godin, who is an internet marketing genius. And he says, marketing is no longer about the stuff that you make, but about the stories you tell. So again, this is the stuff that we can do as small businesses and independent businesses. We can tell our story. So how do you figure out what to write about? You write a lot about the core problem that you solve for your ideal customer and show that you understand their pain. What do they want help with? What are they searching for when they go to the search engines? And what big problem do you solve for them? You basically want to create an amazing resource around that big problem. And we'll show you some examples in a minute. There's also blogging posts for different buying stages. So visitors are coming to your website in different stages of being ready to buy your services, and you write posts for each stage to move that relationship forward. So some people are kicking tires, not ready to get serious. They're the kinds of people that might call you and ask you really, really general questions that you answer all the time. And wouldn't it be great if you had a resource on your website that you could just send them to and be done? Other people are looking at options and they're comparing you to others. So what kind of services do you have? How does it line up with what other people offer on the marketplace? So again, a different kind of content for those people than for the number one group. And then, oh, that's funny, my numbers are funny. And then the third group is ready to choose a solution. So they've done their research, they've decided who they want to buy from, and it's you. What do you have on there that makes it easy for them to pick you, or easy for them to get value from you right now before you work with them? So if you don't have content for all those buying stages, probably your competition somewhere does. So thinking it through in that kind of order. And then people read blogs to get takeaways and actionable ideas. So what kind of takeaway can you provide in your blog posts? They want to learn how to tie a tie. That's actually the number one thing searched on Google, is how to tie a tie. They just want to learn how to do something, get some tips that they can walk away with. So providing that kind of value, they'll come back for more if they know that's what they get from you. So here's a way to look at blogging. There's 4 different kinds of blogs. One kind is the get found kind. So you start with an SEO strategy, you're using keywords, and you're thinking, what are your ideal clients searching for? And you're really targeting SEO traffic with some of those blogs. But when that traffic gets there, they need to be able to feel emotionally connected to you. So you also need blogs that increase your likability. We all enjoy hearing from people that we relate to. So personal stories, face-to-face content, inspirational stories, and free resources, things that are helping to build your likability factor. The third area is to get known. So you create content that people want to share, viral headlines, shareable images. These are really important in making shareable posts. And then again, hooking it up well to Pinterest and hooking it up well so that it's easy to share. And then build trust. So show your expertise and build authority with some of your blog posts. Share proof of things that you've done, case studies, testimonials, portfolio pieces, samples of your content. Teach people how to do things. Show that you are the expert in the field that you're talking about. So those are 4 different strategies, and some people, they pay a VA to do their blogging. They really focus on the one corner where it's about getting found online and using keywords, but they're missing all the different pieces that can tell their story better and connect emotionally with that end buyer. Here's a quote from Darren Rouse. It's really about getting in the beginner's mind. When you're thinking of things to write about, you have to remember that many bloggers fail to realize what they know and consider basic is actually advanced to many of their readers. So I'm sure you can feel that there's all this information out there and you need to be the fastest and the biggest and the strongest and the greatest, but it's actually about connecting to that spot where your ideal customer is when they're ready to buy from you or when they're looking for your solution, and remembering, you know, what mind frame they're in, what basic information would be useful to them. Oh, I see a comment. Let's see what's going on here. Is it possible to get that slide? Yes, thank you, Dolly. Thank you for telling me that. I should let you all know that the notes for this presentation will all be available in the Facebook group afterwards, so within probably today. Thank you. So, and be useful. When you blog, give people the inside scoop. This long article that we wrote for a company, Elite Kitchens, it resulted in several direct sales because, first of all, we used a keyword headline, what to look for in a quote for kitchen cabinetry or bathroom cabinetry. So using a lot of keywords there, those were the ones that we did some research and we found the right keywords, and then we optimized the blog post for those keywords. But then we built authority and we built trust with this blog because we took apart their quote piece by piece and we came up with 8 factors that made their quote stand out against their competition's quotes. So we didn't actually show their competition's quote, but they talked about what they knew, which was how other kitchen companies don't quote fairly, they don't quote fully and completely. There's lots of hidden things that can come up. And we discussed that. We did this as a post on their website and we brought in traffic. People shared it because it's actually quite shareable. And we used it in their newsletters. So we sent the entire post out without clicking read more or anything. to their audience. So people who got it in their inbox read the whole thing, nothing stopped them from getting that value, and then they called and made an appointment, made a sale. So it's simple. My background as a journalism student back in the day and working in newspapers and PR, there are certain things that make a blog post newsworthy. And it's somewhat like what makes it to the front page of a newspaper. So in this example, this is a website that I've worked on. In 2014 until mid-2016, I was working on a regular basis with this young man who lives locally to us. He has ADHD and he wanted to help other kids who have ADHD. And we grew his empty website up to a website with hundreds of blog posts and his Facebook following to over 25,000 Facebook followers. And it was just through the regular blogging and then with Facebook, a few other things as well. But this one was controversial. So we wrote about something, ADHD medication, that you see in the news, that a lot of people have opinions about, that's really well known, and that he has a personal experience with. This one immediately got 144 comments on the site, which is pretty big in terms of getting Facebook juice. Almost 1,000 shares on Facebook right away, tens of thousands of views. It hits a nerve. It still gets hits, and it even helped him land interviews with national media. He was on the CBC twice, and it was all about these heavy pieces that were really real, really controversial, and getting a lot of traffic. So if you still don't know what to write about, you are not alone. It takes a lot of strategy and a lot of figuring it out. I would recommend you a lot of writing if possible. Pardon me. So some of the things you could brainstorm are list the top questions that your customers want answers to when you actually deal with them. And if you don't deal with them, then find other ways, like using social media, to ask what questions they have about your service. I hope that my calendar didn't just pop up on everyone's screen. Okay, so the top questions that people ask about your service. Also, look into what content you've already produced. So maybe you wrote a paper, maybe you've done some live stream videos, speaking engagements. If you're in a mastermind program, maybe you've done a particular piece of content in that program. Anything you've already produced, look for ways to repurpose that into blogging and social media. Also think about what you love to talk about. What are your favorite services or products in your business and why? What opinions do you have? What excites you in your business? What difference have you made in your clients' lives? And then keep track of what do people like to hear from you. So if you have a social media following, which of your posts get the best engagement from your audience? And if you have a real world store, what are the conversations that you're having with your customers? So the more you're getting feedback about what your business is, the more you're learning what people want to know about your business. And then you also need to step into what are your passions in your business? What makes you different from the next person? Because really it's about telling your particular story, creating the persona, so who you are online, and then telling that. And you do that in your blog post as well as on your social media. So the next section, we're going to get into a little bit of the SEO technicalities. I'm just trying to keep it really actionable for you. There's a lot more we can do with this. But first of all, it's important to get found. So for these blog posts, you write with the search engines in mind, but just keep in mind, remember that we looked at that slide with the 4 different objectives of blogs. Remember that SEO is only one strategy, and don't ever sacrifice your emotional and interesting content just to put too many keywords in. Providing great value is still the #1 priority, and every time Google changes its algorithm, the one piece of advice that sticks and that keeps everyone in line is that it's all about providing that great value to your end customer. So SEO is about choosing the best keywords that your ideal customer might be searching for and making it clear to the search engines that your site is a great resource for those keywords. Some strategies around that: Most importantly, I think, make a list of your most important keywords. So that comes from questions that people ask about your service or product. That's the number one place to get that list started. Then keep a list of questions your customers ask you on an ongoing basis. So maybe make a spreadsheet and make a trackable list of all the ideas you have today and keep adding to that. Every time you have a keyword, think of a variety of different keywords that relate to that keyword and add those to your spreadsheet. And then pick a different keyword for each blog post and make sure it's always relating to your business, but always different. And you'll optimize for several search terms over the long run. And then there are keyword variants. So a little thing here is basically thinking about synonyms for what you're using as a keyword. So instead of only repeating the same keyword over and over and over in your post, use all the variations that you can think of. So if your post is about medical advice, for example, talk about healthcare advice or doctor's advice. Or if it's about childcare, talk about childcare center or daycare. I'm sure that you can grab an online thesaurus and really work that. So when we talk about keywords, we don't talk about single words. Cupcakes would be one single keyword, but we're actually talking about long tail keywords. These are phrases that someone really types into the search engines when they have that big problem that you help them with. So instead of cupcakes as a keyword, you're talking about what kind of cupcakes to buy for a 5-year-old birthday party. Like getting very specific, what exactly is your customer typing in? So thinking that through, you'll make your spreadsheet pretty long if you're tracking everything you think of. Here's an example that we love to share of a really well done site with long tail keywords. So River Pools and Spas did some research and found the top 17 questions that people are asking about their product. And then they wrote a post with a question in the title to answer each one of those questions. It's an extremely good resource for people who are looking for in-ground pools. And it's a very usable strategy. If you're selling something, there you go. There's your list of top questions. You add them to your spreadsheet, and then you write a blog post about each one of them. How to do keyword research. This is a little bit repetitive, basically starting with your own list and looking for additional ideas. There are programs you can use if you get more complicated, and we can talk about those if we work closely together. But a quick tip, if you type something into Google and scroll right down to the bottom of the search results, it always pops up with about 6 or 8 additional keywords that are related to your search. So grab those and add those to your spreadsheet. Okay, now that you have a spreadsheet full of keyword ideas, you need to know where to use these in your blog post. So there are essentially 6 places that you can easily control adding keywords to your blog post. Again, these slides are going to be available after the course, and this might be one that you print up and keep beside your computer if you're going to be blogging. You want to optimize your title, your meta description, your headings, the body of your blog post, so that means the paragraphs in your blog post, the images, and the links in your post. In the images in WordPress, for example, when you upload an image, you can also write an alt tag, and that's where you're putting your SEO keywords. Here's an example of a search engine listing. It's got the blue, the green, and the black parts of it, and I'll show you how it breaks down so you can kind of understand the parts that I was talking about. So when I say optimize your title, this blue line here is the title. And you can put any words you want in that title. It's basically the same title that you put at the top of your blog post as well, but that's where you want to optimize for the keywords. Robots read this, so the search engine robots read it, but also people read it. But this one here, the meta description, these 2 black lines, are not important to robots, but they're very important to optimize for real people who are going to be reading it. So a lot of the times you see these aren't used very well, when realistically, these 2 lines of black text can help you choose whether or not you're going to read what is being offered to you, which one you're going to click on. And we like to teach people to use the plugin called Yoast SEO. It's a free WordPress plugin, and you can control all these parts that we just talked about and get feedback on what you're doing by using Yoast SEO. So that's something that we can talk about in future sessions, is how to improve using Yoast SEO, how to use that feedback it gives you. So are there any questions at this point before we move on? Okay, so I'm hoping not. So now we're going to get into the writing a little bit, and we'll talk about how to structure your blog post. So in a blog post, you have several parts that if you do them in sort of a systematic way, you can really work with them. Your headline, you want to make it share-worthy because that's the one part that people are most likely to read. And in your introduction, because people read blog posts for a takeaway, in your introduction, talk about the benefit people will get if they read on. In your main body, it's about 2 to 4 main points with subtitles. And then your conclusion, remind people the benefit that they would have gotten from reading this post. Always, if possible, add a call to action. So when you have people's attention on your website, it's pretty amazing. You don't want them to say, oh, I got to the bottom of the blog post. There was nothing more to do. Let's go to a different person's website. Always think about what's the next action you'd like them to take. How can you move them along in building a relationship? Invite them to join your email list. Show them another related blog post. Anything you can do that keeps them interested for longer and moving forward. Pardon me, I'm using the laser pointer. There we go, and I'm not used to that. Okay, so then what is the ideal image and word count is a question we're regularly asked. We've done some research on it. For SEO purposes, your word count needs to be 300 words minimum. Otherwise, it's not enough words on a page for Google to give it any value. Pardon me. You want to build in some longer anchor posts, at least 800 to 1,000 words for some posts, but we realize that's not realistic to do all the time. So people are very interested in reading lengthier blog posts if they're useful and they have a lot of takeaways in them. So it's something to do maybe once a month or once a quarter, but it's not what you could be doing once a week. That's just not sustainable. And we also recommend 1 image per 150 words as a general average, especially if the image adds to understanding something in your blog post. So your headline matters. This is a quote from David Ogilvy. This is a quite old quote, and it's still relevant today. On average, 5 times as many people read the headlines as read the body copy. So it's really important to put that effort into your headline. If you write a short post, but you nail the headline, you're moving forward. So here's an example. Which one is more interesting? One is how I learned to fall asleep in under 1 minute. The other is how to fall asleep fast. So those 2 blog posts could be talking about the same thing, but the first example is actionable. You feel like you could learn something from it. It has a very clear boundary around it. You know what you're going to get from reading that post. The other one's very general. You're not sure how it measures up against other people's blogs. There's no reason to click on that particular title. So being really clear in your benefit, even in your headline, gives people a reason to read that article and even to stick with it. It's important to work on your headlines because nobody's alone on the internet. There are so many other options people have. They could read so many other blogs or check out social media. We're all used to scrolling really quickly through our phones. So really catching people's attention, being really clear that way is super important. So studies by content marketers show that you have about 6 words to get a reader's attention. You focus on an easy win or a clear benefit that the reader will get from your blog post, just like we talked about. My recommendation is to try writing several versions of your headline and selecting the strongest one. They're difficult. I have a tool that I'll recommend to you in a couple of slides. You can try writing your headline first Or write your whole blog post and then pick the takeaway and write that into your headline, so write it last. This slide has a few examples of the different structures you can use for your headline. Once you figure out what works, you can do more of it, which is a real bonus. So you don't always have to come up with out-of-the-box headlines. You'll figure out a few that work consistently for you. Here are some examples. Pardon me, a how-to or a step-by-step guide, a number of steps, so 7 steps to completing your final exam, or 8 steps to making a birthday cake, a big list of, or an ultimate guide to, or be really specific with your audience. So blogging for beginners, plumbing for housewives, social media for coaches, just really specific. And then they'll be saying, oh, that's for me, and they click right through. Here's the tool I was talking about. This is a headline analyzer from CoSchedule. It's wonderful. You type in your headline and it gives you a full readout. It talks about the SEO value, the number of words in your headline, and how emotional your headline seems to be. Of course, it's a robotic tool, but it does a really good analysis. So if you were to do 10 headlines and type them into this tool, you could compare them against each other and understand the pros and cons using this. So the URL will be in the slides, but if you want to write it down, it's coschedule.com, coschedule.com/headline-analyzer. So again, that'll be in the slides for you. And as you go, when you find the really strong ones, again, this is something to keep track of. So do it yourself. Make a headline cheat sheet. Keep a list of the most effective headlines that you read or that you think of, and then you'll have a template next time you want to write a blog post. So just have that little radar on and be on the lookout for those headlines. Any questions, or are we all on track? Good. Okay, so the next idea is to make a persuasive introduction. At the beginning of your blog post, a lot of people start off with an announcement or something promotional. We want to remind you to start with a story or an anecdote, something that people will emotionally relate to. They're more likely to catch on and keep reading. Along that, use your personal voice. So how would you talk to someone on the phone? If your headline is one of the questions that people ask you, what's the tone that you would use to respond to that question? So if you can get into thinking that way, using your personal voice and the words that you would really use. Also, tell a clear benefit. So again, with the benefits and the takeaways, in your first paragraph, make sure that readers understand, again, it's the third time, what they're going to get from reading this post. Build your credibility up high if you can. So adding a statistic or a number, or drop a big name or a big event. If you have something really credible that you can add at the very beginning, that's great to add it right up there, because you're trying to get people to realize that reading this blog post is worth their time. So first paragraph really matters. And then focus on the reader. So use the pronoun you if it's appropriate. Being really casual. Your blog does not need to be super highly professional and third party. And then make it snappy. So after you get through all of those technical issues, make sure that it's easy to scan. I've actually read more recently that writing for a grade 4 reading level is what's recommended these days. So grade 4, grade 6, grade 8, but just keep it simple. Use plain words. Make sure you're using subtitles and different formatting in your blog. Make your paragraphs shorter if possible. So I see a lot of blocks of text that are really hard to break down. Make them short, make them 1 or 2 sentences and then a space. Then it looks easier to scan. And then remember to add keywords where they make sense naturally, as we discussed. I know that when I was working in the newspapers, we always talked about things being scannable, and it really hasn't changed. Back then, it was making sure that you had, we had these 1-inch width columns of text, and now we don't have skinny text, but we want a lot of white space around our text. Here's an example. So on the left-hand side, we have a website for a client that we redid. One of the main problems was all of the text was smushed together into dense blocks of reading. And despite it being really great content, it didn't look inviting to read. So make sure that you follow more the example on the right-hand side. Double spacing, different kinds of formatting, colors, just making it really pleasing to the eye. And here's a quick technical point. When you're in the WordPress editor, you may not see where you can add these subheaders that I keep talking about. You may have to click this funny little button that looks like a newspaper in order to open them up. So this funny little button here will open up another layer of icons. And then you can select heading 2 or heading 3 from this drop-down menu. And always check your spelling and grammar, because people are going to be getting an impression of your professionalism from that. Here's a really lovely little app. It's called hemingwayapp.com. And you just copy all your text and you paste it into this app, and it will highlight things that are hard to read, which is really, it's different than spelling mistakes, but it actually fixes readability for you. So it's a lovely little tool to use. And then reinforce value in your conclusions. So end with a conclusion. Make sure you sum up your main takeaway. Make it easy for the reader to remember and share your main points. You can even use plugins. So add your Instagram share or add a click to tweet plugin to make a ready-made tweet at the bottom of your blog post. So when they get to the bottom, if they're excited, they're interested, it's great if they would share. So make sure you ask them. And along those lines, ask for action. So again, never leave readers without a next step. What would move them further ahead in liking, knowing, and trusting your business? Okay, so does anybody have any questions about the technical, the SEO, the actually writing your blog post in WordPress? Okay, if you do, let me know. You can tag me in the Facebook group and we can talk about it. And I'm happy to do some edits or give you some pointers on your blogs. And then we'll move into the strategy right now, how to fit it into your real life. So blogging strategy, using your blog as the center of your social strategy. So it's the hub of your entire platform. If you build up your blog, then you'll always have this resource of content to go and get something else from if you want to be a speaker, or if you want to go do a podcast interview. If you've been blogging about things that you really care about, you have this platform. So people who are interested in hiring you or buying your products, they're most likely going to check out your website. So you want to make sure that there's something there for them and you don't leave them empty-handed. Your blog posts will keep people on your site for longer, which increases your SEO score, which means it's easier to find you on the internet. You want to blog to build up your content. You can share your blog posts on social media and it brings traffic to your website. So you share one post, you bring traffic, and they find all these other posts that you've written. Great strategy. And the most interesting thing, great blog posts will continue to get shares and traffic long after you've written them. So I know that when I was working with Jonathan on his blog, in 2014, we wrote a blog post about Instagram, really, really short post. And we went and looked back and it had a few shares over time, but over time, over a couple of years, it's at 146 shares, just that one post. So it's gonna sit there forever instead of something that's a flash in the pan. And we talk about using this system. So if you plan your blog post for the month and you take care of the SEO, you can add things to your blog post like a free download and share it on social media. But then you can reshare on social media, again, a different approach. You can reshare many times. If you've written a big, long blog post, it can add to your social queue for a month or 2 months. Then use your blog content for your email newsletters and use the blogs that do really well, reuse them. So one of the things we do is we track the social sharing and the Google Analytics on your blog posts, and we find the ones that are doing well, and then we build on those ones so that you're not always starting from the beginning. You're watching the headlines that do well, you're watching the blog posts that do well, and then you're building on them. pardon me, there's a question here, so I'll just check it out. Do you recommend putting the entire post in the newsletter? That's a good question. I think it's different depending on each business. If it's an article that really leads people into a sale, there's no reason that you would want to slow them down. It really depends on your exact strategy, because there's lots of reasons also to see who's clicking and send them to your website, especially if you have a lot of content. So it depends on a lot of things. It is effective. People like to read it. They don't like to have to click, but there's a lot of other factors that go into it. I hope that helps. Okay. And then some strategies to get it done. So again, it's that staring at a white screen thing. It can feel really strange and uncomfortable. You're dealing with the creative process, and a lot of us aren't used to creating things from scratch. So hopefully you'll realize that creating content can have a huge impact on your business, and so it's important to prioritize it. We had a client who was really fired up about blogging, but would not make time in his schedule for it. Fair enough. Heading off to a trade show in Japan for a weekend, said, hey guys, I'm gonna spend all of my airplane time going to this trade show and coming back, long flight, red-eye flights, I'm gonna write the whole time. It's not putting it where it needs to be. It's gonna be exhausted. It's not gonna have your energy in it. It's gotta become something that you choose to do Monday morning or whenever during the week you can block a good productive time to work on it. So choosing a prime time for writing when your energy is high. Sometimes just writing a first draft. So writing is not what you write the first time is great. Writing is kind of like you dump a lot of stuff on, that's called your first draft, and then you start to pull out what doesn't fit, and you start to edit and sculpt what's left. So it's kind of like putting a whole bunch of dirt in a garden, and then you pull out and you make mounds and you make everything nice after that. So just writing is the key to getting this done. You can practice every day to build that habit. It's a really useful thing. You have to sort of sustain it over 30 days or 2 months or 3 months, and then you get this habit formed. If you're a deadlines person, it can be very effective to set deadlines that you know that you're going to post once a week on a schedule. You start off with your big list of topics and you check them off as you go. That works really well for some people. I know for me, it works really well to write in batches. So that's sort of sitting down for 4 hours and just writing and writing and writing everything I can come up with, and it turns into topics, and those topics, you can break them down into 3, 4, 5, 6 different blog posts. It's useful to keep a journal. I was using Google Docs to keep all my notes. I also have a journal beside my bed because some of those best ideas come up in the middle of the night. And it's important to remember to procrastinate and to sort of go for a walk, take the dog out, take that shower, because when you're trying to produce content, it can stop the process, and then you take a break and your brain can work on it. And you come back with great ideas, and I'm sure we've all had that experience. And then the other thing that I would recommend, because you're doing this for your business, is to keep it as organized as you can, watching the results, keeping track of the ideas, and making a calendar so that you can see where you're going with things. So here we go. Keep track of ideas for your future blog posts. I promise you it gets easier over time. Tracking each blog post using a checklist or a spreadsheet to make sure that you've got the entire workflow down, because there's the SEO, and then there's the formatting, and then there's the image, all of those pieces that we talked about, just sort of having a checklist beside your desk and going through it every time. Create an editorial calendar, so you can use Google Docs for your calendar or Google Calendar, or you can put it on whatever calendar you use and just say, this week I'm going to blog about this, and next week I'm going to blog about that. That can be useful to keep you on track. And then use Google Analytics and the stats that you get from social media, and pay attention to which posts are popular, and then do more of them. If people like a post that you write about patios, for example, then next week you're going to need to write about patio lanterns or patio tiles, and you can do a series of 4. One idea can turn into so much content. So the thing about blogging is there's never the perfect way to do it until you start going, and then you get that feedback from other people who read your work. So waiting for perfect is never as smart as making progress. From Seth Godin. So what's next, my challenge today, is write the list of the top questions that people ask you and write me a blog post this week. Try out some headlines and choose one, and then post it in the Facebook group if you're willing to do it, and tag me, because I think the real fun here is when we start to give each other feedback and we learn from each other in the group. I'm just going to check that question there too. As in Facebook posts, is there a place for readers to respond? Okay, Doug wanted to know, thank you, if there's a place for readers to respond when you put up a blog post, and that depends on your website. So you can either enable comments on your website or disable them. If you enable comments, you quite likely will get a lot of spam. Another thing we can use is a Facebook commenting plugin, so that people have to be logged in to Facebook, and then you can see exactly who it is posting. You see their Facebook profile, and that can be a very effective way to do it. I think what I find the most effective, though, is if you write a micro piece for Facebook that promotes the blog, but then the discussion still happens on your Facebook page or your Facebook profile, if that makes sense. So people can talk about it more on your social media and read it on your website. Because you also don't want to have a whole bunch of empty comments. So it depends on each business, though. It's always a little bit different. So here's the last slide for you. Almost. 99.9% of great bloggers are not awesome on day one. We all start off with nothing. Their awesomeness is the accumulation of the value they create over time. So it's building that great big resource. So go out and be awesome and send me your awesome blogs this week. If you grab the PDF at the end of this workshop, I have some ideas and inspiration for you right here. These are great big blogs, and sometimes it can feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, but these websites have a lot of the how-tos and a lot of blog ideas, and there's even a blog topic generator that's fun to play with on this slide. So some good things to pay attention to. So make sure you get your copy of the presentation, and hopefully I would love to see some of you putting up blog posts so that we can discuss them. That would be great. There's a question here. I'll just check it and then we'll go back to the group. Oh, Dolly, thank you. I enjoyed that. Okay, so I'm going to open it up again to the group if I can and tag Jonathan, see if he's there. Oh, that's okay. I don't have, pardon me. There we go.
Yep.
He's there.
I was here all the time. I was just doing stuff, listening at the same time.
Yeah.
There we go.
Great. Oh, Jennifer just said that she put her first blog post up. That is so awesome, Jennifer. Can you share us the link?
I might be able to. Just give me a moment.
It's always challenging you, right?
I just realized Dolly's gone.
Yeah, I think she said thank you and she was leaving.
Oh, I was going to get a screenshot of everybody.
Shame.
Okay. Well, Alfred Unger, if you're there, turn your camera on and we can get a, there we go. I want to get a screenshot of this. I want everybody's best smile. Hang on. I've got it on full screen, so I got a really big window to grab here. Ready? 3, 2, 1. That's great.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, is that your link, Jennifer? No. Okay, so we'll watch for links in the Facebook group, and I'll be happy to connect with everybody again there and give some feedback. That's always fun. Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. I should get running if that's okay.
Absolutely. I'll stay for a little bit. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye.
So, how was that? I should unmute everybody. Hang on a second. Unmute all. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so how was that?
That was awesome.
Good.
Made a bit more sense? Doable?
It's just hearing it 20 times so that you might start thinking about something.
Kind of.
That's called the beat you with a hammer approach, right?
Exactly.
So here's the thing.
You will like it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I don't want to be like a tale of two cities here, but some of you are are in this group because you're VIP, like Liz and Alfred and Jennifer and Doug. And some of you are here because of Inner Circle, like Leah was VIP last year, and Nancy's Inner Circle, and Deb. Actually, Deb, she's watching or not, but she's in VIP. So this is actually going to become, or is about to become, a 12-module class. Well, Lindsay's actually going to teach 6 units in depth around blogging. And along with the 6 units are 6 workshops of accountability. So we're going to do 6 webinars where we teach this stuff. And in fact, let me just share my screen. I'll show you what's coming up because it's very exciting. We haven't quite finished this page yet, so it's not quite as formatted as it should be. But it's called Core Content, with Lindsay and I together. And tells you, so this is the 6. So we're crafting your story, specifically how to write, using images, totally maximizing it for SEO, taking it to the next level to really sort of take it, and then being able to use that content across your social media, and also how to schedule it and so on. And as I say, it's 6 weeks of training and 6 weeks of actually hands-on sessions, which is pretty exciting. I'll just keep a copy of that link and I'll drop it in the chat. And it's something that we've put together for the VIP program, but I know a lot of you in Inner Circle really want to do that as well, and VIP wasn't for you, and I understand that. So kind of interesting that we're sort of building the plane as we fly this one, because we haven't launched it yet. We're going to launch this May 3rd. But we want to give you a teaser or a taster of what's going on. So if anybody would be interested in just doing a blogging workshop for 12 weeks with Lindsay and I, as well as your Inner Circle, let me know. Nancy's hand went up. That's awesome. We'd love to share it. We haven't quite fixed the prices yet. Right now, if you're in Canada, you're paying Canadian. If you're in the US, you're paying US. But our cart's actually in US. So all the product that we sell these days is in US. But we're going to do that. So it's a 3-month program. It's currently on the shopping cart at $9.97. But anybody who's in our programs using the hashtag content, all in caps, would get a $200 discount. So that takes it down to $7.97, which 3 months of training with Lindsay one-on-one, which will actually help you write your first 10 blogs and help you optimize them. And one blog can make you a ton of money with the right reach. So that's what we're working towards. It starts in May. You guys are the very first people to learn about this, so we're pretty excited. So if there's some interest, give me a shout. Leah's got to run. I'll see you tomorrow, 8 o'clock, yoga. I'll be there. It's exciting. So that's very exciting. And then if you're in a circle, which everybody except you, Nancy, right now is, no pressure. You're welcome to join us for that module. So it's a lot of work and a lot of teaching. That course probably should be twice that price, but we're not doing it that. We're doing it a much because we want everybody to help from that. So that's coming up. But we still have virtual coffee every Thursday at 10 a.m. So that's in 2 days' time. And any questions you have around, and I got a question now. What's up, Liz? Can we sign up after we finish 6 weeks of VIP, or are you suggesting we do together? It's actually, Liz, you're in VIP, so you're going to get this whole thing anyway. Basically what it is, you're going to get an extra accountability session every other week on top of our virtual coffee just for blogging. And this course is it will be running on a Wednesday at 10 a.m. Because Lindsay is a single mom and she has to go pick up her kids at 3:30, so she always has to rush, and we don't want to rush. So we're going to do it mid-morning on Wednesday, starting May 3rd, which is very exciting. And I'll be in San Diego, and Lindsay will be here, and we'll do it together. So that's what's coming up. So Liz, you have it anyway. So
Okay.
All part of your 20-week VIP thing. So that's awesome. And excuse my voice. I'm glad I wasn't delivering today. I went on this event at the weekend called Well Men. And it was a one-day event for 30 guys up on the top of a mountain. And it was with Canadian Men's Mental Health Organization. Part of it was sharing a vulnerable story in front of a group of guys and then letting go of it by yelling at the top of your voice like an owl or a wolf or a lion or whatever kind of sound you wanted to make. And it was right at the base of Britannia Falls, which is a long cascading waterfall here in BC. So it was very loud already. So I did the most incredible lion type roar to let out this story of mine. And I totally screwed up my throat. So I am not sick. I just sound sick. And no matter how much fluid I'm drinking, it ain't coming back just yet. I'm sure it will be by next week. So, but it was worth it because it was an incredible day. So it is.
Messed up there.
The blogging course is actually over 12 weeks, but it's not. So what it is, it's a blogging unit every other week, which is the webinar from Lindsay, and then the midweek one is the accountability, or it's more of a hands-on workshop. So there'll be a private Facebook group just for the blogging camp. And then, as I say, teaching 1 week, and then you have a whole week to sort of put some stuff together. We'll help you optimize it and then get that done and then on to the next one. But we want to try and get you at least 6 blogs completed. But the goal would be to try and get 10 done. And we find that once you get into that groove and get at least 10 done, then it becomes a lot more habit forming. And it's going to be awesome. So something we've never done before. We're trying it out. And yeah, it's exciting. And that's Inner Circle for this month. Next month, Inner Circle is Tuesday, May 2nd. Would you be able to put, what's that, Alfred? The entire schedule together in one place? We can put it in calendar. That would be coming very soon. You know the story about building the plane as you fly? Almost there. Been working with Madeline McRae yesterday on her dates. I worked with Lindsay yesterday afternoon on her dates. So we're this close.
Appreciate that.
Yes, by the end of this week, you will have the whole 20 weeks. It's because I got nothing else going on at the same time, you know?
It's just I need all the help I can get to keep my schedule straight.
You know, this is my world right now of all the projects that we've got going on and stuff. So I just started using my other world for my calendar now, so I can actually have a 12-month window on all the programs and projects that we've got coming up. So I'm glad I got big walls in my office here. But it's exciting. Very exciting. So does anybody have any questions about today? I know Lindsay's gone, but I know a little bit. Not yet. I know, Liz, you've done a couple of blogs and I've helped you sort of tweak them up, and you did great with those. So excited to help you do more of those.
Jonathan?
You're a success story waiting to happen with those blogs as well, my friend. Jennifer did our first one Friday, which is like awesome. And I know you got a lot of ideas because you showed me a spreadsheet on Thursday. And Doug, I have some easy techniques on how to get those blogs running for you without you having to have to type.
Whoa. I like that.
You just need to talk into your phone and we'll help you transcribe them, and we get the new site up and turn them into blogs. You don't have to be a fast typer to blog. My typing is terrible. I think I'm getting middle-aged dyslexia because my typing's getting worse. I don't know why. But it is what it is. But I can speak. So I literally voice record my blogs now and have them transcribed.
Great idea. Jonathan, what was that site that Lindsay told us about for editing? Was it called?
Hemingway.
HemingwayApp.com?
Yeah, which is just like Ernest Hemingway, the writer, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she's got a PDF that I'm going to send to everybody. It's like, yeah, something like that. What was that thing about the dyslexic agnostic who stayed awake all night wondering if there was a dog?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I have you all got emailed to me now, right, about Inner Circle?
Mm-hmm.
So now we got that email sorted out and everybody's tagged. You'll get the PDF from today with Lindsay with the cheat sheet and everything actually in your email presently. I should have been super organized and had that ready and sent to your inboxes in the middle of this event. I will get that. We're on a journey together, so exciting stuff. So yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, so I'll get the calendar, get that, and yeah. Liz, Did I put the link to the course? Yes, I did. It's up there.
Uh-huh.
Interested, we can do it at, no, sorry, not Liz. It is Liz. Nancy, I'm looking at my screen. If you want to look at that, we're happy to do it over a payment plan as well. So you don't have to do it all up front. So it's over some, so that might help you. And yeah, any other questions? Not yet. All right, bless you guys. I will talk to you. Alfred, you and I need to talk because you emailed me on Friday. So give me 5 minutes and I'll call you now if that's okay. Perfect. All right, everybody. Thanks so very much. I'll turn off the recording and I'll send this out to you. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.